Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, debt slaves, serfs, peasants, vassals, meat sacks, royal Saud family members. I'm useful idiot. Welcome, and let's talk about Saudi Arabia in a story about them talking about invading Syria. And of course, the alternative media went wild, and all the wonderful World War III scenario videos keep getting posted by the hundreds and thousands. And so that's all great. But let's get down to the brass tacks about what's really going on here. So first of all, last week, these comments were made about Saudi Arabia, talking about sending ground troops to Syria, 150,000 to be exact. And then, of course, Qatar and members of the UAE all stepped in and said they would also be interested in sending ground troops. But of course, this is all based on the idea of they would join a U.S.-led coalition. So interesting wording. That's one of the things that pops up time and time again, and things I talk about in my videos, of course, is wording is everything. The devil is in the details. And so Saudi Arabia is basically rattling their sword, upping the ante, giving us a little drama. An interesting timing that we get this discussion of Saudi troops right at the time that this POP negotiations come up with this ceasefire. So there might be some connection between the ceasefire and the Saudi announcement, in the sense that perhaps we'll have a Saudi and coalition troops and U.S. ground troops involved in some sort of humanitarian efforts or setting up buffer zones, refugee zones, or something, and that would be pretty dramatic in itself and would lead to nothing but trouble. But it could be part of what I've been discussing as a reconfiguration of the Syrian war, not really ending it. And so they're taking advantage of this situation perhaps to reconfigure, and this is one of those reconfigured elements, Saudi Arabia, and this also involves Turkey. There's also been discussion of Turkey also suggesting a ground invasion, and there's been a lot of drama there as well. And once again, the World War III drama queens out there are going apeshit. But what we already have going on, which is dramatic in itself, is there's already been sort of an invasion of Syria by Turkey in the sense that Turkish forces have crossed over into Syrian territory on numerous occasions. And in fact, there seems to be some confirmation that there are now refugee camps that are being built on Syrian territory and run by Turkish aid organizations. And that, in fact, has been confirmed by the Turkish Prime Minister himself, saying that these camps have been built on Syrian territory. So kind of an interesting development there, but there could be certainly an incursion of a lot more Turkish troops if there is any reconfiguration being done in Syria. And so we could see the semblance of some sort of Turkish invasion if Turkish troops were brought in to assist in this reconfiguration. But I agree with observers who say that Saudi Arabia doesn't really have the kind of military that could go in and provide a massive combat operation in Syria. So even the suggestion of that is interesting in itself. And in fact, I'm going to do a video about the Saudi military to make that even clearer. So this talk of 150,000 Saudi troops is a lot scarier than it sounds. But hey, run with it. In the meantime, let's see what goes on with this ceasefire over the next week, and this talk about Saudi and Turkey intervention will at least die down for the time being. But if it continues to be a development, certainly we are going to be in for a lot more trouble, because any kind of intervention, humanitarian or any kind of reconfiguration, is going to exacerbate the problem and not do any improvements. That's just my guess. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.